Urban Revolution Radio's your morning show with your boy Nino and your man D Higgs, broadcasting live from the Evans Motor Studios at 1056 East Riverside Drive, home of the buy here, pay here option. All of the great deals on great used vehicles, cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. And all you have to do is use promo code Nino, Nino. You'll get that $100 Visa gift card upon purchase completion. Also sponsored by Spudz-N-Stuff, home of the Holy Montana and the authentic Philly cheesesteak sandwich, which is the item of the week over there at Spudz-N-Stuff. Give them a call, 812-402-7783, or order online at spudznstuff.com. Use promo code Nino, Nino. You'll get that 10% discount. If you're a non-first responder, first responders get those for a 10% discount automatically. Told you I wanted to go see the Eternals movie.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a comic book head, Marvel fan,
Right.
you know what I mean, like all that good stuff. But I keep hearing that this Eternals movie is kind of, people are picking another reason to make Quantum Divide, pick parts about it, said, you know what I mean, it's a lot of countries not showing it because it has like the I think a lesbian scene, it has a lesbian scene, a gay scene, a transgender scene.
Countries won't show it, bro.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna imagine. You know,
So
countries,
they
you know,
out, man.
heavily Muslim
Right.
type countries and things like that. I bet you it's a lot of movie theaters here in America that's not gonna show it. It's like deep in the Bible Belt. That won't show. Cause I'm trying to remember the other movie that they had stopped showing because it had a homosexual scene. I know Brokeback Mountain, it drew a lot of theaters, didn't want to show that down in the South, down in Texas, down in the southern states with the cowboy theme is real heavy. They didn't want to support the Brokeback Mountain thing. It's kind of like with the Eternals. The whole thing with the Eternals is like they were around in the beginning, leading, man, and every little influence that man has ever had has been somehow kind of spawned by these Eternals. You know what I mean? Whether, learning how to use fire, how to build stuff, how to defend themselves, coming up with ideas. And their main goal was to try to protect them, protect us humans against, they're like angels, I guess. They would be like the comic book angels that's supposed to protect us humans against the comic book demons called the deviants. They're not like from hell and nothing like that. But they're just like, imagine if human DNA just was out of control and everybody just had all kind of different kind. Those were the deviants. It's unchecked. That's what the Eternals were. I wouldn't say worship, but were created by what's called Celestials. They made three different kind of peoples: us humans, the deviants with the uncontrolled mutations, and the Eternals with the controlled mutations. And we just rolling the dice, see what's gonna happen. They would, But a lot of people are just saying that this movie is tugging strings, unnecessarily, just trying to be, I guess, I want to go so far to say controversial, but just to make an eyebrow raise a little bit, because they changed a couple of characters in the movie on purpose, just to try to reflect today's society. Like, I think I don't think it's not Gilgamesh, but it was one of the other Eternals. It was supposed to be a man in the comic book, but it turns out to be a woman. And then she's a gay woman, a lesbian in the movie at that. You know what I mean? So it turned into from a straight man to a gay woman in there. And then the other character, Sprite, is a boy in the comic book, like an Eternal trapped in a boy's body that didn't grow up, but kind of like the origin idea of Peter Pan. That's like one of the stories in the comic book that this dude actually visited the guy who wrote Peter Pan, flew around him, and he came up with the story of the never-ending boy. It's supposed to be inspired by this guy, Sprite. But in the movie, he's what they call androgynous. You don't know if it's a boy or a girl because they get reborn and just come. So he's just coming back like this androgynous kind of you don't know if it's a boy or a girl kind of thing. And it's kind of raising a whole bunch of people's eyebrows and all. And it's kind of taken away. They say it's taken away from the actual idea of the movie, because sometimes you can make changes to a movie that are really unnecessary that hurt the movie. Because that Eternal movie, it could have been, if they're explaining, like I said, I haven't seen it all the way. I've seen all of these, movie reviews and all of what people thought about it in clips and all this kind of other stuff, comparing them to the comic books and things like that. And some of the changes that they've made are just trying to be politically correct changes. You know what I mean? Because like the one dude, Fastos, he's the black character in there. You know, the one he's supposed to be like the mechanical one, the builder. You know, like Hephaestus for the Greek gods, make all the weapons. He's supposed to be the inspiration for that. But instead of making him, you know, the strong, the iron working, you know what I mean, being that he's supposed in the comic book, he's like soft and pudgy around the edges, little soft, got the nerd glasses on it. Like, why did you turn him into this guy? You know what I mean? You know, why can't you be smart and buff and strong at the same time? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't that have been a good character? Why did you have to make him? You know, so like changing movies just for you know, get
to be co-signed by other people.
Right. You know, it's unnecessary. And I think it's really taken away. I still want to go see it. But it's like all of these other changes, like I'm one of the ones who say if you're gonna make a good movie about a comic book, you need to stay as close to the source material as possible. Because that's what people want to do. They want to see how well you're gonna convert what we've read in that book and use in our imagination.
Right.
You know, because that's what a comic book is. You read a comic book, you fill in the blanks and all that stuff in your own imagination, which is some of the best stories to create. But then some of the comic book movies, when they go to live action, they lose that because they try to be PC for today's age based on a comic book that was probably written in the 60s, 70s. Like a lot of the theme for the X-Men. Right. That was dealing with racial inequality back then. Yeah. Professor X was supposed to be Martin Luther King, and Magneto was supposed to be Malcolm X. Yeah, you know, that's what Stan Lee said that they were representing. You know what I mean? They were supposed to be the two entities fighting for peace in two different ways. You know what I mean? You know, Malcolm X was the non-violent turn the other cheek. Martin Luther King was the turn the other cheek, and Malcolm X was the by any means necessary. Yeah. So that reflection, you know, that societal reflection in the comic books is what those were all about. And then when they brought those to the movie screen, I think they did a good job casting the dude, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, the bald head guy in the wheelchair and all that stuff. And they did a good job casting another dude as Magneto, you know, with the tall, silver-haired, stoic kind of, and they stand their ground. X-Men stayed close to the source material on that, but with these Eternals, changing stuff just for the sake of changing it can sometimes hurt the movie. It'll hurt the movie bad. You're trying so hard to be politically correct, trying to include everybody and not hurt anybody's feelings, that you're just making a mess of the movie. A lot of people say that you can't even tell that this movie has anything to do with the other Marvel stuff. Wow. Because they don't make no reference to it. They don't make any references to any of the other Marvel stuff that was going on. This could have been like a standalone movie by itself. If they didn't put like the Marvel Studios logo on that and change the character that people didn't know that it was from a Marvel comic book, it could have just been a standalone movie by itself that stood well, you know what I mean, blah, 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 and nobody would have known the difference. But when you start tagging, you know, things that people are already familiar with and then changing them just for the sake of changing them for no good reason whatsoever, you're just trying to be politically correct, I think that's going to make the movie, dull it down a little bit. Same way that they trying to do with the comedy. So I was watching a little comedy thing, how comedians are feeling about how the cancel culture is trying to get press. You can't say anything to offend anybody. You know what I mean? So everybody says, well, you can't say this. You can't say, well, if you're going to say this about, you can't say this about that. You know what I mean? So this political correctness, I think George Carlin said that a while back before he died, comedian George Carlin, that this political correctness is getting so out of control, you can't afford to hurt anybody's feelings because everybody's so sensitive now. And comedy's not even going to be funny anymore because
you took everything out of it.
You know, so now you're changing things. You know, you could have just made a regular movie with just totally created characters. You know, if you want to go with the lesbian or go with the gay or whatever, change it. There's like people tripping over the son of Superman. You can't take what people already know and familiar with and just drastically change it like that and just expect them to be cool with it. You know what I mean? It is comic books. It is, you know, fantasy and all of that good stuff. But we got to remember, you know, just trying to please everybody all the time, you end up pleasing nobody. all of the time. So just let us know. Have you seen the Eternals movie? Do you think it was good? Are you familiar with the comic books of it? Do you think it was stayed close or was honored the source material? Or do you think that they disrespected it by changing the characters so drastically? Let me know. 812-303-5018 or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/live999WJCB.